Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host, Conquer Corey. We have Mike.
Yes.
And today we're going to show you how to install Duckstation on your Xbox Series S or X console. To get started, let's open up the Microsoft Store, and we're going to search for Dev Mode. Now, it is important. There's two different versions of Dev Mode here. There's one for the Xbox One, and there's one for the Series X and S. So you want this one right here that has the new consoles on it.
Takes a while to install.
It does. Takes a little bit to install, but once you get it installed here, next thing we need to do is just simply launch the app. So if it's first time launching, it is going to walk you through some things. It's going to welcome you. Go ahead and click next on that. No one cares. Then before you get started, it is very important to make sure that you have a computer running Windows 10. It has Visual Studio 2017 or higher, and then make sure you have at least 5 gigabytes of internal storage. Mostly everybody has this, so I don't think you're going to have a problem meeting that. We're to the screen here where it's going to give us code to activate our console, and more importantly, it's going to give us a link up at the above that Mike has been so gracious to pop up on the screen here for you. You need to visit this URL on your computer.
I'm so helpful.
You do a good job. Good job, Mike. Okay, so once we go to that website, it is going to prompt us to log in with our Microsoft account. Once we're logged in, we're going to scroll down to Developer Programs and click Get Started under Windows and Xbox. All right, now we're going to have an option to click Sign Up Now. So if you haven't signed up for a developer account. Now, it is important to note that a developer account does cost $19. It's a one-time fee to make your Xbox account a developer account. It doesn't really have any negative downsides to that. It just marks you as a developer unless you use dev mode. So once you finish up that login sign up process, you will go back here, and once you visit the Activate Xbox URL, once you're signed in, you're going to be brought to this screen where you can enter your activation code. So you press the plus sign, enter that activation code you see on your Xbox. Now, depending on how long it takes you to sign up, that first code may expire, so you may have to relaunch the dev app to get a new code to put into this screen that you're seeing right now. Once you do that, it is going to pop up. It's going to say it's activating. So once that happens, you are going to have an option to switch and restart. So just go ahead and click that to launch dev mode. Now, don't panic if this takes forever. The first time launching dev mode does take a while because it has to do the initial setup and all that stuff. So that is completely normal. You might want to go make you a cup of coffee or something while you wait. It's my Xbox, and I need it now. Call Phil Spencer, 877 Xbox. Okay, that's bad. Never mind. That was terrible.
That's why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, they can't all be gold. All right, so once we're in dev mode here, the first thing we're going to do is go to settings, and we're going to launch the settings because we need to enable internet access. So if you have a Wi-Fi connectivity on your Xbox, you do have to go in here and set up a wireless network. It's just like having another fresh instance of Xbox launched within your Xbox. If you're wired, well, congratulations, you get to skip the step. So once we have our internet up and running, we're going to go to the home, and we're going to add our user. And this could be the same user that you use to log into the retail version. So just use your gamer tag email. So once you have that account created, next thing to do is go down to remote access settings. This is very important because we're going to visit this later. This is where you set a username and password to access your Xbox through your browser. And we have to do that in order to install the Duckstation application. You also have to do this to install RetroArch as well. So once you have a super secure password set up, totally not 1234 or anything, you can click done there and memorize that IP at the bottom right. We're going to be visiting that later. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is press the options button on the controller, and we're going to select manage dev storage. And this is where we allocate hard drive space to dev mode. So Important to note that whatever you set here will be taken out of your retail hard drive space. So keep it small. I just picked 30 because I'm going to load a lot of my ROMs and everything on a flash drive. So once you change the developer storage size, you do have to restart. So it'll go through the whole restarting process again. And then once you restart, you will be brought here. And you can see here it's memorized everything that we've done so far. So adding the users, adding the remote access settings, the Wi-Fi settings. Now we're going to skip back over to our computer and we're going to visit the Duckstation GitHub page. So just open up a browser. We will include the link below so you can access it. I did put the link up there at the top there you can see, but we'll include it below so you can just click it. It's easier that way. So the thing we're looking for here is we're going to scroll down to the bottom of this page and we're going to look for the AppX version of Duckstation. So you see Duckstation UWP AppX. This is the program file that we want. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And that's the best part about Duckstation. That's all we need. So remember when I told you to memorize that IP address at the bottom right? I'm showing it again so that way you can look for it. And you're going to type in that IP address and that port number here in your browser. Now you are going to get a potential security risk. Don't freak out. That's just because Xbox doesn't have a proper certificate. So the browser's like, hey, this isn't secure. It don't necessarily have to be. It's in your network. So when you click to proceed, it is going to ask you to enter a username and password. That is the same username and password you entered earlier. Now this is the web interface for your Xbox. You're actually in your Xbox right now, which is totally cool. So to add Duckstation, we're going to click Add under My Games and Apps, and we're going to get a prompt here where we can click Browse, or you can just simply drag and drop your AppX package into the box there. I love how user intuitive a lot of current installers are now. You just simply drag and drop now. I don't know. It's little things, right?
It's the little things in life. Definitely makes it easier.
And dependencies. Well, guess what? With RetroArch, we had to have dependencies. Duckstation does not have to have them. It's just a simple click and
Yes.
install. It's great. You don't have to deal with the dependencies or have to worry about any of that. So now you can see we do have Duckstation added to our console. Okay, so we're back in dev mode, and as you can see, we do have Duckstation listed, but we're not ready to play it just yet. We need to go to Duckstation, press the start button, or the options button now, they call it. Just keep it started, Xbox, really. All right, and then we are going to select View Details. And under UWP, we need to change it from an app to a game. Now, this is very important because if it's a game, that means it can access its external storage, and we're going to actually use a flash drive here. So now we're going to have it back to our computer, and this is my flash drive that I created. So I'm just going to go to the flash drive here and create some folders. So anytime I create folders for emulation, I like to organize everything. So I have a BIOS folder, I have a games folder. You're going to see I'm going to add a saves folder here in a minute. But first we have our BIOS file. So we actually have a BIOS that we ripped from one of our PlayStations that I'm going to dump in here. For copyright reasons, we cannot tell you where to find these. You have to do your own research. You have to get them from your own systems. And I'll leave it at that. Next, we got our games that we're going to put our game ISOs here under the games folder. So I'm going to copy a few examples here that folks may know and love. I'll leave the suspense here. Spoiler warnings. All the ones I put in here that I show, I end up adding more later and just using different ones. So
It was too good to play Soul Reaver. It's such a good game.
it was so good. It was so good. Something happened to the footage. I forget what it was, but yeah, this is the ugly side of YouTube no one likes to talk about. But all right, so here we have some games here. I just have Armored Core Masters Arena, such a good game. Like I said, Kane Soul Reaver, and then Dragon Ball GT, such a bad game. That Final Battle was just horrible. I just suck at it. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. But I had some more later. But anyways, I digressed. I did make a saves folder because you can actually program your saves in RetroArch to go to that saves folder. So if something happens to your RetroArch installation, or excuse RetroArch Duckstation installation, you can carry over your saves to other emulators. So now we got everything prepped. We got our USB drive into the Xbox. We're going to go to Duckstation. We're going to launch the application. And here is the Duckstation interface. I love how simple and straightforward it is. I just love it. It's amazing. It's not a whole lot to it. We're just going to go into settings here, and yeah, you get blasted with a lot of settings, but it's really not that bad. So I'm just kind of scrolling through the settings here because there's different things. The first thing I want to do is set my BIOS directory. So I'm going to go to the BIOS menu, go to BIOS directory here, press the A button or the X button. And we need to navigate to our flash drive. So to do that, we're going to click parent directory. We're going to keep pressing that until we get to the root. Okay, now we're going to go to the E drive. That's my flash drive. And there's my BIOS folder. So I'm going to click on the BIOS folder, and then I'm going to select use this directory. So I'm basically telling Duckstation, look in this folder to find the BIOS file. Then I'm going to go to the NTSCU, which is the US BIOS, and set it here. So I'm going to scroll through some more settings here. The next one I want to stop at is going to be the games, because I want to set my games directory. So just literally click add search directory. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to press parent directory until we get to the root where we see our flash drive. We're going to click that, then click our games folder, and then tell Duckstation to use this directory. What that'll do is that'll put all your games in a list that you can just go to a game list and just pick the game that you want. Makes it really handy. Here are the controller settings where you can actually remap your controller buttons, which is really awesome, but I think the default ones do a pretty awesome job. You just really kind of leave everything alone here, unless you just want to tweak something. Now I'm going to go over to the hotkey settings. Now, this is one thing I am going to do is the open quick menu button. What I did here is I actually mapped it to R3 because not a lot of PlayStation 1 games use the R3 button. And the reason why I did that is I want to press the R3 button while in a game to exit out to the menu so I can switch games easily. And there's all kinds of cool things too. You can even do a fast forward. Now on the display settings, this is really cool. So you can actually change it to make it a 16:9 aspect ratio, or you can leave it at the game native. That's entirely up to you. So there's some cool things that you could do here. Now the magic really happens in the enhancement settings where you can up the internal resolution to 4K, which is very nice. It cleans up the textures really good.
Oh, yeah.
They're still blocky, but it's okay though. We do got some audio settings, and then I thought this was neat here. The achievement settings. So apparently, I'm going to figure this out. You can link it to an retro achievement website and get achievements for playing older games or something like that. So I'm going to dig into that. The display settings. This is just me, honestly. I'm just toying around with settings at this point. I left everything as is just to kind of get started to go, but you can change it to Vulkan to kind of see what kind of performance you get. Now the emulation settings, I thought this was kind of cool, and you're going to see me go back here in just a second. You can really do some interesting things with the internal GPU. So we're going to go to the, console settings. So we're going to enable overclocking, and you can change the overclock. So just for kicks and giggles, I decided to go all out and do 200% because, more power. That's right. All of it. So what this does that's really, really cool is if you overclock 200%, games like Chrono Cross that have a really bad stutter don't have a stutter anymore. It actually helps the games run at 60 FPS, which is amazing. All right, but enough about that. You probably want to see the game, so we're going to open up some games here, and we're going to get things started with Digimon World 2. I told you I didn't use a single one. I loaded everything. I used all my other games. I love Digimon World 2. It was a fan favorite of mine. As a kid, me and Mike played the crap out of it. We didn't understand what we were doing. We could never beat it because it doesn't do a good job of telling you what to do.
Yeah, a lot of games back then did that. It's like, here, there's a game. Go forth! Prosper!
But it was... Well, we didn't care because Digimon. That was Digimon and Pokemon. That was the thing in the 90s and 2000s. So But as you can see there, where I upped the internal clock, it's running very smooth. And the textures are actually really cleaned up. Now, you may think, well, this looks horrible. You're running on original hardware, and then look at it.
Oh yeah, you would see a massive difference, and it's so much smoother too. Is the thing, because back in the day it would stutter or lock up on us.
And it's real easy when going back to the old games like this. It's really easy to kind of have those nostalgia goggles on, and we automatically think, "Oh, it's always been this way." But the PlayStation hardware really wasn't much to write about. It was pretty low end. Even at its time, it was pretty low end. It's just we didn't know because it was the best we had. So it played really, really well. I was very, very pleased with it. So I decided to move on to a different game. Another one we all know and love, Mega Man Legends. Capcom, you really need to release a Legacy Collection on this.
Man, I would love that. I would buy it in a heartbeat.
I keep throwing them money. I just keep throwing them money. Even Mega Man X Dive, which is a mobile game, I keep throwing them money, and they just abuse my feelings. They don't acknowledge that there's a fan base for Mega Man anymore. It makes me sad. But same thing with this one. You may look at it and go, "Oh, I don't get it. That's PlayStation 1." Again, look at original hardware and then compare it to this, and you'll see the improvements. You'll see where the textures are much more cleaned up because they're in 4K. Now, obviously, it's still blocky like PlayStation games were, but the details are so much crisper, and they don't have that fuzz is not a right term, but it looked fuzzy on the original hardware. Am I crazy, Mike, or am I using the right terminology there to kind of describe it?
No, definitely. I mean, everything's a lot sharper in the simulator.
And I just think it's amazing that you can do this on your Xbox. I mean, it's just, and it's so easy to set up. Like, it's so much easier than RetroArch to set up.
Again, the Xbox plays old PlayStation games better than the PlayStation does.
Oh, shots fired. But yeah, so while we're waiting here, we'll just kind of let this play through, and you get all these tutorials. Like, it's like, okay, stop right there. Look out above you. Oh, these old tutorials. You gotta love them.
At least this one has a tutorial.
That's true. Digimon had like what, a 5-minute one, and then you had to figure, like, it didn't even show you how to befriend Digimon. You had to just figure that out.
Yep.
And we didn't have YouTube back then, kids. So for the younger audience watching this, you couldn't simply go to YouTube, how to catch Digimon. We had to read through a big notepad text document on Cheat Code Central, figure it out.
Ugh. I'll never forget those freaking guidebooks that you had that were all just walls and walls of text, or you'd go to school and talk to your friends and be like, "How'd you do this? How'd you get through this?" And they'd all tell you wrong.
Well, you know what even will boggle you more? Someone took the time to type all that up.
Yeah. For free.
I mean, not all heroes wear capes, okay? Some of them live in their parents' basements. Alright, moving on to another game here, and you know I had to do it. Parasite Eve. I love this game so much. Anybody on the channel, you know, you've heard me talk about it. I just love this game. This game is so good. It is Square Enix's attempt at Resident Evil, basically. And wow, you can really see Square Enix always did a good job with their models, but you know, the PlayStation was very limited. But this cleans it up so good that it, like I said, they look passable. Maybe as a 2007. I know I'm pushing it there, but still though. and the games play really, really smooth with the overclock. Now, I will go ahead and put a little bit of word of warning. If you go too high on the overclock, you may notice some wonkiness in the games because it wasn't meant to run that fast. But you know, just toy with it. I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen is it gets unstable. You have to exit out, change your emulation settings, and then go back at it. That's what I love about Duckstation. Duckstation, it's a fairly new emulator too, but I love how simple they've made this. because you know emulation back in the day used to be a really high entry level.
Oh, it
Um,
was very much so.
you had to be
Everything is
pretty
so much more
technical
user
knowledge.
friendly now.
Hmm. And a lot of people got turned off of emulation because of how much technical know-how you had to have to get started and how much troubleshooting. And being someone who used to do early day emulation, I remember some of the headaches I had trying to get it to start up. But now it's just like this was literally a few clicks and a drop of a few files. A lot of time to be alive. All right, and I'm gonna wrap things up with you know it, you love it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories.
Oh my god, this game was so much fun. I remember sitting down for like hours putting in codes to unlock different cards. Oh,
And speaking of other games, you know that you know don't really do a good job of explaining how to play. This is a prime example game too, because there's fusions, and you have to know what type of cards fuse, and it's not like obvious ones either. Like it's not just like, oh, I can fuse Red Eyes Black Dragon and a Meteor Dragon to make Meteor Black Dragon. By the way, if you do that in this game, it will not work. It does not make Meteor Black Dragon. Ironic, isn't it? But you have to know like, oh, a female monster. By looking at the art, you have to tell, okay, this is a female monster, this is a plant monster, this will make this monster when I fuse it. Or a dragon and a thunder makes Thunder Dragon, but then another thunder on top of the Thunder Dragon makes Twin-Headed Thunder Dragon. Are you lost yet? We were too. But it was a fun game, and I really enjoyed getting to go back and actually play it here. This game's not very demanding. It's just not, you know, not a whole lot to it here. But this is an older game that a lot of people know and love and played as a kid. So that's what I love about Duckstation is it gives you a chance to really enjoy these games again. Oh, all the development work, by the way, went into these scenes right here. Everything else just kind of got the back burner. This is where they spent majority of their dev time is these little horrible animations of the monsters attacking. If you hold in the Y button when you attack, you get to actually play out the scene of them attacking. You're about to see me wreck this petite moth so hard. A cyber wolf, man. Yeah, go get him. Boom! Tail laser, baby. Yeah. But anyways, we really hope this video helps you out. It was really easy to get set up with Duckstation. Of course, if you have any questions at all, please leave them down in the comments. Just like with the RetroArch video, we'll do our best to answer and help you get everything set up. But it's a lot easier than RetroArch, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. If you like this video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, let us know if you're enjoying Duckstation on your Xbox. And of course, if you want to see more content like this, we actually do have a RetroArch video on our channel as well. Hey everyone, Conqueror here. Just wanted to add a little bit of a post video on this Duckstation video to shed some light there, because if you follow the instructions there, you probably saw it on the GitHub page. Duckstation has been closed and set to read only. It was open at the time of recording this video. It's just that the developer has stopped doing updates to it. Now that doesn't mean that you can't use Duckstation. You can still use Duckstation. We actually have the link below that you can download the app, install it, and it still works very well. It's just that for right now, no updates are going to be done to it. It looks like that the developer has just ceased development. It's probably a long, drawn-out story that we won't get into here. But I did want to let you know that, just in case you go through here and you through the steps and you notice that it is set to read only. That is why they stopped doing updates to it. But as always, if you have any questions, leave me comments down below. See ya.